Hey, welcome to the Tim and Gugabe podcast. This is your host, Tim Gugabe. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Good to be back. Taking on. How are you, Tim?
Not bad. You might be able to tell I'm a little sick. I started coaching wrestling again, and I always did high schoolers historically. And on Monday I started with youth teams, and so there's just so many kids, and I think I got fucking sick from one of them, because I just started feeling under the weather. But it's so different coaching wrestling for kids like that because they can't even communicate. I was trying to show a 6-year-old a duck under, and he just had no idea what the fuck I was saying. He would just stare at me and get it was just I've definitely got to learn how to communicate with kids with wrestling moves more. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but that's how I'm going.
Tim's throat is a little bit soft because he got choked out by a 6-year-old.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm just making excuses. But no, it's been cool. And I guess we just have this one last card, right? And then we got then we have a 3-week month break.
I think it's how long is the break? Let's have a look. It is the first card next year is January 14th. So it's about a 4 week.
Gotcha. Cool.
Gastelum first time ever. Immovable. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, all right. Per usual, we will recap just 5-10 minutes, the last card, and then we'll go through the main card for this fight night. And last card, main event, that was kind of anticlimactic.
I mean, it was kind of apart from the leg kick thing, which I guess happened, it was kind of one of these things where it's Ankalaev, whenever he decided to wrestle, would just minus 10,000 from that point on.
Pretty much.
It would take him fucking half an hour to decide to get around to it. I felt the draw was giving the first 3 rounds is possible, but I don't think it should have been the draw.
How did you score it personally?
I'm fine anywhere between 49 and 45 Ankalaev and draw. I tend not to take massive stats. I'll tend to just the way I look at fights. I tend to be scoring probabilistically rather than having a firm one. But definitely Ankalaev. I think Ankalaev going into the decision should have been 9% to win it.
I always try to have a range, and then I'll kind of think of what I personally think is probably the best card, but understanding there can be a latitude. I think it's kind of unreasonable to not give Ankalaev a 10-8 in round 5. It was just such a dominant round, and he did actually land ground and pound that round. So I think I give him a 10-8 there, 10-9, and then 10-9, 10-9 Jan in 2 and 3. And then I thought round 1, I kind of leaned Ankalaev, but I feel like you could have gone either way, so you could have got a draw. But I kind of leaned Ankalaev in that first round, but it just kind of is what it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, I felt I had Ankalaev round. I wasn't watching super closely because my big bet was go distance overs. I had to every single over. I also had a bunch of fun. I had a bit of Ankalaev decision, but luckily most of my stuff was running for over 4.5s and that kind of stuff, so they get too badly pinned by that. But round 1, for Ankalaev was kind of just about working. He landed a bit more and was landing headshots. Round 2, the knee thing. Even round 3, I felt Ankalaev won round 3 because he had that moment of leg hurt, but otherwise he got the takedown to win the round and he did better for the first half. And I always kind of feel weird about scoring. This could sound weird. Pre-existing injuries when you carried them between rounds.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to
because you're kind of building on something that's already happened.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I don't think the rules hash that out because it's it's already. I mean that's why I think Zhang won the first fight against Joanna. Is she literally had Joanna had another human growing out of her head because of a punch that landed in one round that had nothing to do with the other rounds, So it's just I'm
thinking of Zhang, it happened at the end of round 3, which was Zhang's worst round.
Yeah.
10 seconds left, she just flips the entire rest of the fight with a.
But I understand if you're a judge sitting there and you're well, 4 and 5 are pretty close, but one girl literally looks like she got hit by a semi truck, so let's go you know what I mean? I get the human part of it, but it also is for sure. Then Paddy Gordon, I don't want to make everyone mad. I thought I do think the wrong decision happened. I played Taporia and then I had a little bit on Gordon decisions. I was obviously like, I feel like I'm not being like biased or anything. I was hoping Gordon won because I had a few $100s, you know, on his plus like 480 decision line. But I do think 2 and 3 were like really close. Like I think it was like one of those things where I had the issue with round 1 wasn't even that close, and 2 of the judges gave Paddy round 1. Like that was my issue. Like if a judge gave, like one of the judges gave it 29-28 Paddy rounds 2 and 3, and like I don't agree with that because you're basically giving 2 coin flip rounds to Paddy, so it's kind of like seems a little unfair, right? But I just had more of a problem with like Paddy getting round 1. Like the way I think I scored round 1 Gordon, and then round 2 I thought it was like borderline 50-50, but I leaned Paddy a little bit. And then round 3, I thought it was like borderline 50-50. And I leaned Gordon a little bit. And the thing with round 3 is like people kept saying Gordon didn't land any shots, but it's like, if you look at the strikes and you watch that round, neither of them landed anything. You know, it's just like they both landed 21 strikes each. And Gordon had 3 minutes and 53 seconds of control, and Paddy had like 40 seconds. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I hate this like new hipster thing of being like, you didn't do damage with like the grappling. I'm like, I understand if you didn't do damage and the other guy did a little more than you, but Paddy like didn't in that round. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like my thing to like overcome a 4-minute control sort of a round, you've got to do like serious damage. You've got to be, you know, the other guy's got to be covered in cuts and just sort of completely lame play, not just like, oh, the guy's cage pushing, that time doesn't count, because like that time does count.
It was almost as if they just like awarded. I fucking hate that shit. Like it's really annoying. Like there are some rounds. Like there was a couple Sabatello. Like that was another fight that happened. But there was like a couple Sabatello rounds where like I understand the reasoning for that rule. Like Sabatello, there's a couple rounds he didn't do anything and Stotts landed much better strikes. I'm like that makes sense. Like there's a couple of rounds in there I thought Stotts rightfully won, but then like the Paddy round 3, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, this is fucking stupid. And 2 of the judges...
Paddy round 3 didn't matter, though. Like,
yeah, I know.
Paddy'd already won the fight. So, my view is like, Gordon closed minus 1,000. All right, there is a very marginal card to be made for Pimblett round 2 and 3, but you're probably running into 2 60% rounds. Like, it's possible.
Yeah.
But
it's like a 20% outcome for Paddy to get the decision on like one card. Then if you go across exactly. Yeah.
And that's always the issue. People always think, oh, it's one judge. No, it's free. So it should be like self. Yeah, my issue like,
he has to get 2. So wouldn't that be like a 10% outcome? Like I'm trying to think. I'm trying to do the math because it would be like a 10% outcome. Because if you
minus 1,000, right?
Yeah. What's up?
Minus 1,000. He closed minus 1,000. I think that was about right.
Yeah, so like mathematically, the books were correct. Like Gordon probably wins that. Like they were like he pretty much has 100% round, and we're just going to chalk. Like I'm just roughly estimating 90 to 100% round, and then like 2 50-50 rounds. And they did the math, and it's like like Gordon 90%, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it is fucking insane that the only unanimous round of that fight was round 2. Like Gordon losing round 1 makes. I don't understand what scoring criteria you're using there. Like Gordon, like you can argue, right, the standing was pretty close, but Gordon probably landed the better shots. Pimblett might hit a bit harder. Then Gordon ends around with 40 seconds of top guard, which is like, 90% of the time, if you finish the round on top for the last minute, in a competitive striking round, you win that round. Correct? That's like just how the sport works.
Yeah. Like, it was just stupid.
Gordon sealed the round.
Like I think we're on the same like page here. It's just kind of like, I mean, it was kind of, it was like a statistical like anomaly for him to happen to get, even if he would have got 2 cards there, just like based on like how the rounds were. But yeah, him getting 3 was nuts.
Yeah, again, second when I heard unanimous, I did not think that Paddy won that fight. Put that way. I was personally expecting like 30-27, 29-28 Gordon split. Like just I was expecting one.
I was expecting something like that too, and like maybe one Paddy scorecard, but like probably like 3 or 2, for Gordon, and like it would just been whatever.
Like historically, I can only think like 3 or 4 decks where I've been like, what the fuck, like that. Like probably that Gamrot, Sarukian, where it was like unanimous 48-47 Gamrot. It's like, what the fuck.
Yeah,
and Hernandez versus Ronaldo back in the day.
Yeah.
Unanimous 30-27 Hernandez, and it's like, well, what? How? What?
Yeah. If anyone has comments, go ahead, or any questions, you can drop it in the chat. Ponzinnibio and Morono. That was just kind of. I kind of expected a competitive striking fight. I kind of said that last week. This fight just showed the nature of like striking fights being kind of high variance. Like Morono could almost finish that fight like multiple times, and then Ponzinnibio just knocked his head off.
Yeah, I mean, Pons probably was winning the minutes more often than not, but Morono seemed a bit more dangerous. You see the late live movement now? Morono went from plus 160 to plus 110 in like 10 minutes. And Ponzinnibio was moving okay. It didn't look like Ponzinnibio was hurt.
I don't think that was like James Krause stuff. I just think that was kind of like sharp movement, just looking at striking metrics, because sometimes that will like happen,
Still, that was pretty violent. It was a pretty violent lane move.
But that's a big move, yeah. Like you'll see stuff like that occasionally. Like it didn't scream like suspicious to me. It just screamed like some people who like, I think they were probably on the right side on Morono too.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that just looked like pretty good action. Because I don't know, I thought Morono was a side before the fight based on the line, but I wasn't. That's not a fight I really like to bet, like put my money on.
I had the under 2.5, easy bet, never any doubt.
Oh my god! So you beat
by
it
1 second. Yeah. But again, like my view was like it was a good bet anyway because I had like 4 knockdowns.
For sure. What was the
Morono KO plus 1,000? That was annoying.
Yeah.
Like he had like 3 legit knockdowns.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Duplessis and Till. Oh my god. Till just. Well, I mean, we don't really need to talk about this. Till just can't wrestle.
Yeah. Fun fight though. It was hilarious.
It was fun. Topuria. I played Topuria over Mitchell. It was my first track bet in a while. It kind of went how I thought. I do think like Topuria was kind of like, and I played Topuria, so I'm not like trying to talk shit on Topuria. He was kind of scaring me with that, like how he was just going nuts. Like I just felt like he could have maybe like gassed out a little bit, but it ended up not mattering in the end. But I would like to see him pace himself a little more. I feel like if he paced himself against Mitchell, he would just like never gas and generally win. I do like. I was like kind of like, whoa, dude, chill out. You're like better than him, But he ended up getting the finish. So good showing overall. What do you think?
Yeah, it looked good. I did think he was flagging a little bit before the second round knockdown. Like, again, I'm not saying Mitchell was taking over or was going to dominate or whatever, but I just felt like Topuria did, the knockdown kind of, Topuria dominated round 1. First half of round 2 was getting a bit wobbly. Then he gets knocked down and just fights over. But again, I feel like he probably wins that like minus 200, minus 300 clips. So whatever.
Yeah. I think he covered his line, but I do think he kind of like fought a little reckless. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he could have been a little smarter about the way he fought.
Also, it's just like I'm curious to see how he looks like against top level featherweights because like Qatar or something, assuming Qatar is still Qatar after his knee injury.
Yeah,
could be like horrible on him because like he's just not going to go away.
Yeah, and I agree. Like Topuria, it's hard to know because we haven't seen him go that far, but I can't imagine anyone being able to fight the way he did in the first round for 5 rounds, and he's just very aggressive. But I do like him. Like he's a good prospect. Like he definitely is going to be a threat in this division. But I did think I think he just needs to kind of like tune in his skills a little bit,
Yeah, there's enough kind of wonky featherweights that you can, they can get into a title shot if they want to give him one. Because, like, got Korean Zombie, Chikadze, Yair, Ortega.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to get Dog Qatar against Topuria, but otherwise it's like, if the UFC wants to give him Korean Zombie or Yair or something, they can get into a title fight fairly easily. Yeah.
He's good. He I like him, and I played him for a reason. I do think he also kind of fought like that because he was kind of he almost kind of didn't feel all that much danger against Mitchell, so maybe he was just kind of like fuck it. But just going for the finish. Like I do think against other people, he seems smart enough to like not do that. But who knows? It'll be funny because like he could bring a card to Spain too, because they don't really have all that many guys. They got like Joel Alvarez, Espino, and whatnot. But
A bunch of very angry natives in Spain.
Let's go to. All right, let's go to the main event here. Cannonier Strickland. You want to kick it off?
Gut feel, Cannonier. I feel like Strickland has struggled a bit with power middleweights. Like Hall was giving Strickland issues before Hall's eye exploded. And I don't like how Strickland deals with leg kicks, but also it's just like Strickland should like double him in strikes landed over 25 minutes. So also I'm kind of not rushing to play over plus 100. Cannonier KO is not bad. What was it, like plus 300-ish? Yeah, should be a fun fight. I don't have any huge opinions there, to be honest.
Yeah, it just kind of seems like a classic like volume versus. I think if Strickland doesn't get hurt, he probably wins.
Decision equity should definitely be Strickland's. But the Gastelum fight wasn't a bad look for Cannonier over 25.
No, even versus Whitaker, he like competed, you know.
Against Israel, like he took like I had him taking 2 rounds off Israel. There were 2 sort of awkward, pushy physical rounds. But
he could make rounds competitive enough to where, and like a dumb knockdown, he could win a decision. But I do think if he doesn't hurt Strickland, I wouldn't pick him to win. But I'm pretty torn on the fight. Like I think the line's fine. I do think Cannonier like is more likely to hurt him but I don't like fading the decision guy. Like just having that decision equity in your back pocket, like Strickland probably has, is just like such a weapon in fights like this. But one thing that kind of goes under it is like Cannonier does get hurt occasionally. You know, like he has been knocked out, like in the UFC. Like Reyes knocked him out. Brunson hurt him. Strickland hurting him is possible. It's just probably less likely. You know.
But Cannonier could also hurt him. So it's
for sure. It just seems like a competitive striking fight. Like I want nothing to do with it really.
I think it'll be fun, but no strong betting tags.
Yeah, Strickland has a little bit better striking metrics overall, but like Cannoniers are still pretty decent for like the competition he's faced. It just seems like a close fight, and I don't give a fuck. Are there any props that you're eyeing? I'm not interested in the fight.
Cannonier KO plus 400, probably better than moneyline. I misread that. Never mind, it's not that. In that case, pass. Misread who is who. Over, under, I can see people arguing about playing the goes distance, but also it's going to be a high tempo striking match at middleweight.
Yeah. And if Strickland just kind of decides to be an idiot, you know, and just kind of swing, which he could.
Yeah. Yeah. I project over 25 minutes about 300 significant strikes landed at middleweight. So do I want to play GTD minus 125?
Yeah. Not much to say there, really. Demir and Sarukian.
Fun fight.
I always tweet about Sarukian. It's a good fight. Honestly, these guys are better than some of the guys in the top 5. And I don't need any. I will name names. I think they're better than Gaethje, Chandler, and Poya, and people could disagree, especially Sarukian. But no one wants to fight these guys. But I tend to think it's going to be on the feet, striking, and I feel like round by round, from a technical perspective, they're both pretty competitive. I do think Sarukian seems a little more durable, and I didn't like how Demir looked in round 3. Do you remember against Rafael Alves? And he has even Garam kind of hurt him a little bit in round 1. I do think Sarukian lands a little more effectively, and so that could be the decision or the difference here. And that's why I'm okay with him being a favorite, but it's probably a 3-round striking fight where both guys can't really land takedowns or control each other. That tends to be pretty competitive. What do you think?
Yeah. Again, I'd probably go Ismagulov or pass, but I think Sarukian's probably got higher sort of grappling control upside if it does go there, and is younger and better athlete. So
yeah, he's just more physical too, and just I feel like he hits a little harder.
Ismagulov live bet might be solid. Because I feel like Ismagulov probably does his best. Sarukian probably do his best work early. So yeah. I think the guy's distance wasn't bad, was it? No, it's just gone now. Minus 250. It opened way better. Yeah, opened at minus 2 actually. That's not great. Yeah, should be fun. Like, it's a high level fight. I just have no particular betting. Like, I think plus 160 is Mankilov's about right.
Yeah. Like I favor Sarukian, but the thing is, I feel bad for Sarukian. It's just like there's some guys he could just get easy wins over in the top 10, but no one will fight him, and he's stuck fighting. What's up?
Like Gamrot, that was an easy win in the top 10.
Yeah, he could have won that far, but like
that was
the thing is, like Gamrot and Demir are like some of the harder matchups for him in the top 10, and like they're not really known, like as well. And I just feel like bad. Like I think it's fucked up how like, and he came. I tweeted this out a couple weeks ago, and then he said the same thing. Like Sarukian said the same thing today. Like the trio of Gaethje, Poirier, and Chandler, they just fight each other. Or they call for like McGregor or a title shot, and that's it. Like they don't fight anyone else. And Poirier's a shit grappler, man. Like that Chandler fight, I wasn't impressed by either guy personally. Like, were you? I thought they both looked terrible, and I don't know.
Chandler does that with everybody though. Everybody Chandler's ever sort of interacted with is just shit.
Yeah,
MMA fights, wrestling matches.
Then like both Chandler's wins will be like over like. They'll fight each other. They'll call it McGregor. Then they'll like beat up a Ferguson. It's like they're not like. I can't believe these three guys haven't been fighting guys like Dariush, Gamrot, like Saruki. It's just fucked up. It honestly is just annoying. But I was just hoping they would catch one of these guys early before like, where we could get line value on like a Sarukian versus Chandler or something. But I don't know if that would happen anymore. But. I respect Poirier in that trio the most because, like, if he gets a striking fight, Poirier is very, very tough to deal with, But he's a shit grappler, and there are grapplers who, like, Sarukian and Dariush maul him on the mat, right? Like, what Chandler was doing was disturbing. And Chandler just got too tired in round 3 and was an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, I think, kind of what we said you need is I don't even want to have like Poirier or Chandler versus like Sarukian because I feel like the Russian hype and all that will probably make the price shit. We need fucking Chandler Green because Green would be like plus 400. Like I want them to completely skip the sort of like I'd rather have like Chandler and Poirier fight like the top 20 lightweights than with the top 10 lightweights because I think you probably get like a way better value proposition.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, like imagine Fiziev versus Chandler. Like what do you think would happen there? Like Fiziev would fucking knock his head off.
Two things.
Chandler hits Fiziev
and Fiziev hits the floor.
A good fight that like I actually think Dustin in like a 5-rounder would be like really fun. Him and Fiziev. Because like Dustin, I don't trust him versus grapplers, but versus Fiziev, that'd be a great fight over 5 rounds.
Yeah, I mean my biggest pick of Chandler is I don't want Chandler against top 10 guys because I feel like the price will be a coin flip, and I don't want to bet against Chandler at coin flip odds because he's fucking stupid. I want Chandler minus 400 against somebody because I'll bet literally anybody plus 400 against Chandler. It's just.
I'm like I don't even like I would bet a lot of like top 20 to 30 guys against Chandler who I would pick straight up. And it would be
as a solid dog, but I think Chandler's floor is like 45, but it's like 40% just how he fights. Like Chandler's ceiling is Chandler is like 40% to beat anybody. Like he never goes much higher than that, but he also never goes much lower than that.
Yeah, he's but it's just so annoying. Like those 3 have just, and then you have like McGregor in there as well. So those like 4 just kind of hold up the division, and they don't move from the rankings, and they're like Sarukian's so much better than Chandler and Poirier and Gaethje. And it's like there's just a wall there. It's just a really strange situation, and it's like the best division in the sport, and it's really like annoying how that happens. And like even like Dariush is gonna get a title shot without fighting them because they probably wouldn't fight him. Like I don't know, it's just weird. But what's up? We're just chilling. Let's go to Caceres and I haven't taped this. Tell me, I heard Costa like wasn't bad, but I haven't looked into it at all. Have you looked into it?
Costa's not bad. I kind of don't understand. Like, all right, so Abazi was supposed to fight Perez, and Perez pulls out. Why didn't they? And then Royval, but why didn't they break up Dvorak versus Carpe and give one of those guys instead of giving him like this random dude?
I don't know.
Like, you know, like you think main card, like, yeah, Dvorak and Carp versus Albazi are both way better matchups than this dude.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yeah, Albazi, yeah, he looks like a good prospect. Again, it's kind of like he's got one of these games that's like it's all very well flowed. It flows together very well. So I'm kind of curious what happens if he goes against somebody where he can't get his grappling going, because like that's his best area and so on. Costa's pretty solid. Like, yeah, Tuesday, his contender series fight wasn't bad. I don't really see where he's got for Albazi.
What is Acosta doing? I've literally, I don't even know who he is.
Decent sort of Brazilian random. Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah,
like I think he's like fringe UFC level. I think Albazi probably Albazi's a solid prospect. I haven't been picked behind him, but I'm happy to kind of pass on this one.
Yeah.
It's just I'd much rather see Albazi fight Dvorak or Cup, because that would be like learning something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to say. I haven't taken it. Caceres and Erosa, Erosa is one of those guys where I pick him to win. I feel like he'll get knocked out, and when I pick him to lose, he'll look awesome, like against Dewadu. Like he looked really good in that fight. Like he's like one of those guys. I feel like you don't bet as a favorite, but you don't fade him as an underdog at this point. You know?
Yeah, Erosa is a good flipper. I like the under here. I'm gonna lose it in hilarious fashion. I know I am. That it's just a law of the universe. Like I can't not bet the under here at plus, but like we know how it's gonna go. It's gonna be like 5 knockdowns.
5 knockdowns, like multiple back takes with face cranks, but they can't get quite under the chin.
Yeah, Caceres and Erosa will literally both like guillotine each other simultaneously. Like they'll just be there and they'll just both be cranky on each other at once. Like
I have a question for you. I think this fight's pretty competitive. On the feet, who do you favor?
Rosa, busier. His chin kind of comes and goes. Like he's kind of got the Morono syndrome kind of thingy.
Yeah,
like Caceres is
either gets knocked out in like 30 seconds, or he just it has a great chin.
Yeah, it's Morono syndrome.
Yeah.
Caceres has that win streak, but that win streak is like the worst in like UFC decent division history.
Yeah.
Like Choi, he had a miracle comeback after getting knocked out. Chrome sucks. Springer sucks. Hooper sucks. Peterson, okay. He just kind of like Kevin Holland. Remember that Kevin Holland, how he had that win streak against just like homeless people? It was like Buckley, Ontiveros, just random. So Caceres essentially had there's a bunch of people through COVID who essentially just got like random villains every fight. I just think Erosa's money line price looks about right to me. I think Erosa's busier, should be hustlier.
I think Caceres is maybe a little more durable, but Erosa might be busier. I do think the feet is pretty competitive though. Because Erosa is busy, but he gets hit a lot too. You know.
Sure. I kind of trust Erosa's cardio more though.
Yeah, he's a motherfucker with his cardio. He just doesn't stop coming really.
I'd be very happy if Erosa pulls up a series. If Erosa somehow made a run to title contention, I'd be very happy for him. How could he not be? He's put the hard yards in. He's coming from the bottom. He's incredibly fun to watch.
I wouldn't bet Erosa at this price. I'm just being real. I know he looked good versus Dewadu, and I picked Dewadu. I thought Dewadu was going to dominate him, and Erosa looked really good. But I do feel like there's recency bias. Dude, he was getting hurt consistently and going to war with Steven Peterson on the feet. If Caceres got the better of the striking here, I wouldn't be shocked at all. I don't know. And Caceres has only been knocked out one time in his UFC career, and I know his competition hasn't been great, but he's logged so many rounds, and he is just generally a pretty tough guy, you know.
He's been club subbed a few times, so I think that.
Yeah, he was, but a lot of them were early in his career, and overall, you'd consider him a pretty durable guy. He can get bopped every now and then. Yeah.
I want Superior versus Erosa. I just think that'd be fun. Like, so Superior either knocks Erosa out in 30 seconds or gets third round KO.
Yeah. So like,
those are the two outcomes.
I agree with this here. Like, activity work rate will be key, and like Erosa lands 6.26 significant strikes per minute, but he absorbs 6.3, and his defense is 48%, and like Caceres defense strikes at 64%. And like his metrics are better, although Erosa has fought better competition. I just don't like a guy in Erosa who absorbed 148 significant strikes versus Steven Peterson. Like, it gives Caceres too high of a floor, you know? And like Erosa is chinny too. So like, it also like Caceres could also just hurt him and knock him out. Like, I don't know. I think it's dog or pass. I'm not going to play the fight, but I would not bet Erosa here.
Yeah. So I mean, I money line pass easily. I also have to say, it's actually kind of amazing how weak Caceres' UFC wins are. Just look at them. Like, I like Caceres, but just you know, for going that many wins, he's got like 2 of anybody who was like semi-competent. Like Sergio Pettis was a massive arsefull comeback. So like, Young Choi was also a massive arsefull comeback. Like, everybody else just sucks.
I think I wrote. And yeah, like, because I write up these fights, and on one of them, like, I dedicated an entire paragraph on like how Caceres' like wins have been awful, like in general. And even if you go earlier in his career, it's a bunch of guys I don't even know, you know.
Like there's no like fringe okay people. It's just all just like the worst UFC bantamweights they ever had.
Yeah, how has he been in this division for so long with fighting like any top 15 guys?
I feel like it feels like with like bantamweight and featherweight, they had very sort of strong delineations between like 2015 and pre-2015, like post-2015. Like, you look at like the UFC rankings from like 2015, 2016, like early Aldo days, like nobody has hung around. Like, it just felt like people suddenly got once the UFC added those divisions.
He did sub Sergio Pettis. That's probably his best win.
Yeah, but that was like a fucking miracle.
Yeah. All right.
He was getting owned, and he just wobbles them and gets a really like a choke.
Gugabe, listen to this. So this is UFC competition. I'm starting in 2011. Mackenzie Semerzeri, I don't even know. Jimmy Hedis. I remember Jimmy Hedis.
That guy.
Cole Escovedo, Edwin Figueroa, Damasio Page. I know him. Some Asian. I cannot pronounce his name. Tezuka. Ho Kang. We know him. Roland Delorme.
And these like 50% of these are like close splits. Like, he's going to split decisions against who the fuck are these people?
I mean, he's lost half these fights too. Sergio Pettis, okay. Faber, he got subbed. Masanori Kanahara, I know him, but again, another fight he lost. Francisco Rivera, I know him. Masio Fullen, Cole Miller, Yair Rodriguez, he lost.
That was hilarious fight. I have to say. It was 5 rounds in Mexico City, and they just fucking threw spinning kicks for 25 minutes.
It looked like they were performing karate katas for like, Jason Knight, Rolando Dye, Martin Bravo, Cron Gracie, Steven Peterson, Chase Hooper, Austin Springer, Kevin Kroom, and then Yusuf. Like, he's fought out of his like 30 fights, he's fought like 4 guys who were like top 10.
Yeah. I mean, some of these guys have been top 10. It's just they've aged out now. But like, yeah. What's fight ends by sub? I agree. Like, either guy could get a back take or something. Like, yeah. Can't see it, but based on the current sub prices, by about plus 300, plus 400-ish. Yeah, solid. They might it.
Now I hear you on the under though, because like there's gonna just be a shitload of strikes that land, and like both guys can get finished on the mat and on the feet, you know. I
mean, a plus under an Erosa fight is like never a bad bet. Like, when is an Erosa fight?
I agree with that.
Ever solidly gone over?
I like that plus number the more I think about it. Okay. Dober and Green. These are kind of 2 of our boys historically. Like, we've been higher on them than the market, I'd say. Everyone's kind of figured out Dober though. Like, remember when he was plus 300 versus Nasrat? and then Bobby Green, who Dober's now a favorite over, was like minus 190 versus Nasrat.
Yeah. I think it'd be a good fight. I think Dober's a bit more go forward and busier on the feet. So, I guess minus 150, but also I feel like Green probably has the martials mixing upside. But again, there's a very good chance he just won't bother. If Green fought optimally, I'm pretty sure he'd be like, I'd put him as like a decent favorite. Just I feel like he's got more chance to get top time and that kind of shit. And I think Dober's chin is starting to concern me a little bit. Like, he's still tough as fuck.
Green,
but he's getting hurt.
People a little more than I think he gets credit for at times. Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's hurt lots of people, like, badly. He just has shit finishing instincts. He's kind of gotten lucky. Like, Lando, he almost killed several times. Nazareth went full AFK, don't hurt me mode.
Yeah, he knocked out Iaquinta. He also, like, staggered Fazeev at a time.
Yeah, round 3.
Yeah, in round 3.
Again, I don't mind Bobby Green inside distance plus 650 and KO plus 900 here both interest me. Like, I understand Dober is durable, but like, he's starting to get hurt badly every fight.
And Andy doesn't have that great of defense, and Green just lands a lot of significant strikes in general. I think it's a really close fight. I think the value is probably on Green, honestly. I think he's better defensively. I think he's just a better defensive striker. I do worry because I do think Dober, like, even though I think Green is a little underrated with like a little bit of power, I do think like on a strike per strike basis, Dober hits more. But like the problem is I'm just like hesitant in a striking fight already at minus 150 to bet Dober at minus 150 when, Green's outlanded like 10 of his 11 last opponents in significant strikes, like even like Fazeev. It's just like it's hard to cover that number versus Green because he's good, like he just lands strikes and he's good defensively and he's skilled. Like if you're in a striking fight with him, he's going to compete pretty well, Yeah,
because like generally like Green, most of my view is like if wrestling or grappling happens, I feel like Green's probably the better fighter there. So, like, again, it's not like I'm expecting Green to shoot 10 takedowns, but, like, Dober is just not really great at control grappling. So, if that did happen somehow, going Green would be the side.
Yeah.
If Green was willing to fight, like, to maximize his win chance here, I think he'd definitely be, I would be on him. Green's, like, I trust Dober to do Dober things. I know what Dober's going to do.
So
Green could decide to do like 1 in 6 game plans, depending on how he's feeling.
I just like the defense just sticks out to me. It's just like Green, like Dober gets hit and Green land strikes. It's just like it's as simple as that. And Green defense strikes at 62% and Dober's like 51. It's just Green is better defensively. If you just like watch him too, it just you can tell. Yeah. Like Dober's really potent offensively, but he kind of takes one to get one. Where Green can make people miss. And what concerns me on this line is just like, who do you think's favored to win if it goes the distance?
The issue is like Green, fucking his optics are awful, and Dober will be going forward. And
Green is, so I'll just tell you that. So that concerns me because like if you're betting Dober, it's like you're betting a guy who's literally the underdog if it goes to the cards. And then the thing is like, Green's inside the distance is plus 600. I get it. Like people don't think he can finish fights, whatever. Dober to win inside the distance plus 185. That's like very like, dude, like
that's crazy. Like Green's stupid tough.
And Dober doesn't win by submission. When is Green the only time Green's been knocked out against Poirier?
Yeah, man, like he's fought like elite striking competition every single fight. He doesn't get hurt either. Like how often do we see Green hurt?
Like, dude, Fazeev doesn't finish Green plus 185, like at all.
Green clearly was the side, no scorecards and money line against Fazeev.
I just feel like that's like a wrong line. Like, plus, dude, how many finishes is that out of 100? Like 37, 38?
Yeah, Green no scorecards is plus 250. Yeah. I'll take Green no scorecards at plus 250.
Yeah. I do agree with you. Green TKO plus 775 is just kind of like interesting. I do not think it hits, but we also called Morono, or we said Morono plus 800 TKO last week. It's just like, I think our basis there was like Morono lands a lot of strikes and Ponzinnibio gets hit, and it's just a fucking striking fight, and that's kind of the same thing here.
I mean, my biggest win of all time is still Green KOing Quinta, and people told me Quinta could not be stopped, and it's just like,
yeah.
you know, he's getting hurt badly every single time. He's not magical.
I don't have strong opinions. Like, I like both guys. I don't have strong opinions on who wins. I think line, like, the better bet, I would say Green. I just plus money. I just yeah. As far as like if my life was on the line, I would be like really nervous picking this fight. I just think it's really competitive. But I do think those like plus 185 Dober. I'm very confident in saying plus 185 Dober inside the distance is like way too generous. Way too generous. Like Green is like really tough. And he's just good defensively. He doesn't get hit often.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like Dober finished Alves and McKinney. McKinney is like very fragile.
I mean, both those guys get tired and quit.
He finished Hernandez like extremely fragile, and Alva. Like those guys are just made that they are not Bobby Green, at all.
Yeah, like three of us, like his three most recent finishes are all guys who just literally just get tired and quit. Like it's what they do.
Yeah, that's like what they do every time. I think we're kind of on the same. Yeah, that's a good fight though. It's a good way to like. I think they're. Oh yeah, I think Oleksiejczuk and Brundage is opening the main card, so we can talk about that one too. You have strong opinions here. I don't really care too much about it.
Oleksiejczuk is a bum. He boxes well for 3 minutes and gets tired. Brundage is a mess, but has only been professional for like 3 years. And Oleksiejczuk's bottom game seems atrocious. Not really rushing to play anything, but also it's like Brundage is out of Factory X. Like again, I think people give him shit, but he's literally only been a pro for 3 years. Like he's not a bad athlete. I'd go Brundage. Yeah, Brundage or pass. But the issue here is that Oleksiejczuk win is probably Oleksiejczuk fucking running out, pubes on fire, and knocking him out in 90 seconds. Everyone's like,
it just feels like a Brundage live betting spot. Like why?
Yeah, but I think it could flip so fucking hard so quickly here. The Brundage just consolidates takedown. I think Oleksiejczuk is really bad. Like, I just like for me to play a minus 300 or minus 280 fighter, I've got to essentially be.
It's got to be like
confident
someone.
Yeah, I've got to expect someone like 30-26. I've got to expect to put up like 15 takedowns. I've got to expect him to have like grappling dominance. Then everybody else just bets fucking Oleksiejczuk, and it's like, well, all right, he's got 3 minutes of punching. Good work for it. Good on him. Oleksiejczuk's a bum. Brundage will be my side, but again, I'll hopefully it blows out a bit wider, close to the fight. What are you gonna say? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious Oleksiejczuk will get off to an early lead, and like for that reason alone, I'll probably like favor him. But it's just a bit of a mess. I don't really care about the fight. Are there any other fights?
The Saeed fight's not bad. The double Saeed.
I haven't taped that.
I kind of think Kakhranov's taking a big step up, but also I just don't like Saeed Nurmagomedov. I don't like Nurmagomedov's game. Yeah. It's just unless he's finishing you, he just does a lot of stupid shit. Kakhramonov against Lawrence, him throwing Lawrence around was impressive. Like again, Lawrence said he was injured or whatever, but still, like, out cardio wrestling Ronnie Lawrence, I think is just a good. That's something to build on, and like Saeed's just like I feel like Kakhramonov, if his game works, he has like minus 500 upside, or like Nurmagomedov, even when Nurmagomedov's on. If he's not finishing you, he just never looks great. Jake Matthews is going to win a split decision. Jake Matthews has a 3-fight cycle. He finishes somebody brutally. Everyone's like, Jake Matthews is great. Then he wins a very awful split decision with 40 significant strikes. And then he gets finished in round 3 by somebody. And you just get to repeat that for the rest of our natural lives.
I think Matthews should be fine here.
Yeah, someone's better.
He looks pretty bad on bottom. Like if Matthews just goes to grappling, he'll be fine.
Yeah, but I don't think that's guaranteed. I mean,
he might
I'm not playing Semmelsberger by any means, but if this just turned into a very sleepy sort of power punching sort of thingy, I would not. If Matthews decides that he is now a boxer.
Agreed. Yeah, that's like the risk, right?
Yeah, like again, like Matthews could definitely grapple him if he went for it with
easily.
Enthusiasm.
Like I was just watching Semmelsberger on tape, and I was like, oh my god. Like, he hasn't really faced any grapplers except AJ Fletcher, and then AJ Fletcher gassed. But when AJ Fletcher was just like semi, okay. He was like dominating him. Matthews could definitely do that, but Matthews
Actually,
might
might the under there.
right.
Actually, I mind the under there because like Semmelsberger's aggressive, hits hard. Matthews aggressive. Matthews will do things if you make him. Hits hard. The grappling gap is massive. Yeah, I could see a lot of finishing permutations there. But when I say that, it will be just end up being like Matthews will decide he's not doing anything today and have a 30-20 significant strike. But Matthews just has that fight a lot. So yeah, it's like remember when Matthews versus Ackman? It was like Ackman was like massively. Yeah, Ackman sucked, and then Matthews just kind of let him have a maximum.
He literally just was like, dude. He was literally just like taking timeouts and hanging out like on the phone, and then he would like come back, land a few strikes, and go back to the outside and just fucking run errands and go to like the supermarket, then come back and just land again. It was ridiculous.
I'd say with Diego Sanchez, remember that?
Oh, yeah. He actually was hurting Diego a little bit though.
But, yeah, in round 3. Like again, if he'd switched it on at any point before that.
I think there was a point where he was like, all right, I'm just gonna like take it easy on this guy. Just like I've been beating the shit out of him. I'm just gonna let it like we'll just go the distance here.
Yeah, he did, but like still, like he even like the first 2 rounds, he did fuck all for.
Yeah,
I understand taking mercy on a man, but still, it was kind of he could have gotten Sanchez out there. What else? Dvorak vs. Karp's a good fight.
Yeah, I do think this line probably feels too wide just based on the fact that like Dvorak was just even versus Nicolau, you know? Yeah. And Nicolau and Kopp are pretty comparable in just like ability. The issue is I do think Kopp's the rightful favorite just because like he's more likely to hurt Dvorak than vice versa. But Kopp, I mean, we've just had fights with Kopp where he lands like 50 significant strikes, and like I just feel like if he doesn't hurt Dvorak, it's probably a fucking split decision, you know? Yeah, like Dvorak's looked really good in fights where he just kind of, I don't know, he just kind of got caught a couple times versus Nicolau.
Yeah, pretty much. Inevitably, Carpe will lose like 6 minutes, then we're just flying them.
Yeah,
like, we know how this is going to go. Dvorak will come into like minus 150 after round 1. He'll get like 4 minutes of top control. Because like I feel like Dvorak, if he actually gets top control, could actually make Carp look bad. Because like Carp's takedown defense has improved, but once he's flattened the map, he's still not very good. But inevitably, Carp will like just decide at some point it's time to knock him out, and he'll knock him out.
Yeah, he'll definitely land like some dumb flying knee. That's like pretty much a lock. He'll hurt Dvorak at some point. I just feel.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I think Dvorak's good fighter. His game plan's well. He seems well put together, but he just doesn't seem to have that athletic gear for top level flyweight.
Yeah, that's my issue with him. And he is like he does get hurt. You know, like he has like in a couple fights now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Marquez versus Win. What like? Do you have anything to say there? That's a really funny fight.
Can I fight them both? It'll be spectacular. I feel there's actually a bunch of fights in this card, so I don't necessarily have betting leans on them, but I just think they should be fun, competitive shitfests.
It's a pretty fun card. Like, there's some good fights on here.
Yeah, and it's like a bunch of guys who are like decent prospects. Yeah, they're decent prospects, like potential sort of ranked guys. Like, it's surprising how well they've stacked this card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should be entertaining. Marquez is a meme. Win is also a meme.
Yeah. Yeah, the fight. Yeah, Gordon Ryan's on Fight Pass tomorrow.
Who's he fighting?
Vinny.
Oh my gosh. Mind you, fucking COVID. I bet Magash plus 300 against Craig Jones. Then Magash just fucking goes straight into the leg locks. It was stupid. Like,
Gordon's minus 8,000.
Yeah, but Vinny beat Gordon like fucking 3 years ago. Yeah, Vinny's like the last person to beat Gordon. Obviously, he's not going to win.
It was like in 2018, back when Gordon was like nothing compared to what he is now.
Still, Vinny did show like a good approach to leg locks and that kind of stuff. But like, Vinny fights Craig Jones and he just goes straight, literally goes straight into the saddle, like willingly. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, he beat Gordon Ryan by being super negative, and against Craig Jones, for some reason, he actually like actively went for leg locks, and he got owned in it. And it's like, why? But,
I'm looking at future cards if there's like anything.
Did you see the IBJJF Nogi Worlds steroid testing thing?
No.
Oh, so USADA rocks up last moment.
Yeah.
It's to do the champion, to do like the medal, the podium winners.
Yeah.
And of the black belt finals, about 7 different athletes who were supposed to go into the gold medal matches announced they had flights to catch and just left. USADA was there.
Yeah.
Like legit.
Well, I mean, dude, like.
I mean, I'm not saying they were. There's not good. There's good reasons they did that, but
there's 2 guys I've rolled with, like, who are kind of well known. I'm not going to say their names. I know for a fact they do steroids, and like, just like the build of jiu-jitsu guys. Like, they're all built. Like, so many of them are built like Gordon Ryan now. You know, like they're so jacked. And yeah, like 2 who I roll with, I know for a fact did them. And like, I mean, jiu-jitsu. There's just so. I mean, dude. Let's face it, like PEDs are like rampant in UFC fighters too. Like they definitely find ways around it, you know?
Yeah, but do you think professional jiu-jitsu is like, you think jiu-jitsu would be like a cardio kind of a sport? Like you expect like jiu-jitsu players built
like
to range more towards like soccer player. Then you see top level jiu-jitsu fighters, everybody's fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Dude, they all are. It's crazy. Like, because I've rolled
they're
with
not just strong, they're fucking jacked.
There's, dude, like, I don't want to say the names of a couple of people because I just said they do steroids, but like they're so jacked. Like I'm not even like a small person, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like rolling against them. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, like even like Sylvia, yeah, I've a bunch of Australian equipment was like ADCC, sort of decent guys, and like yeah, it's just they're just jacked. It's just like yeah, it's one thing if they were strong, but like when you have like a bodybuilder physique, you don't get that naturally.
Yeah,
it's gonna be funny once like who are the you said the other real Tolos have like super skinny at the moment. How big are those guys going to be in 5 years?
Oh yeah, they'll be huge.
They're going to be like even like Andre Galval. Like you look at Andre Galval over time, he went from being like a skinny black dude to like a skinny black kid into like Mr. Universe.
Yeah. No, it's like it's crazy how big and jacked like all jiu-jitsu, like because it's kind of a recent thing. It wasn't like that all the time. Like Marcelo Garcia wasn't jacked.
Yeah,
he was like
heavyweights always are pretty.
Like he still might have done PEDs, but like the profile was just like way different. But
yeah, you've always like Pablo Popovich, that kind of shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, Pablo. You Google image chat Pablo Popovich right now, and he is bodybuilder. Like again, like Marcelo Garcia was pretty unusual. Like he was an outlier because he matched all life. Like even like Prime Jacare used to be ridiculous.
Yeah, is Pablo still like competing often?
I'm not sure actually.
I've seen him compete live. I'm looking. I don't think he really is. Yeah, because I figured he's got to be like, because he's like a lot older. Oh yeah,
he's 43. He's not that old.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying he's just like a lot older than me. Because I remember like back when I was watching him, he was like, it was like, I mean, in his prime, he was a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much jiu-jitsu's changed like that. Like, you know, in terms of the popularity and all that's gone up so much in the last couple sort of decade or even like 5 years.
Yeah.
And now the Brazilians starting to suck with it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't think we have much else to talk about, but yeah, it should be a fun card, and then we have a break, and then yeah, we'll come back. We'll start doing it like with cameras and stuff. I'm just like never prepared because I always am either doing this super late or super early, but we're going to start doing it with like cameras and stuff, a little better production quality. We'll start January of next year. So thank you, everybody. And Gugabe, any last words?
No, all good. Have a Merry Christmas all. And yeah, be good.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Peace.